Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining in to As Life Turns podcast with no other than me, Cynthia Bell. Tonight, we're going to slow it down just a little bit and we're going to talk about colon cancer awareness. In the words of Marvin Gaye, what's really going on? Why is this particular cancer affecting so many African American people? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it tonight. What are we doing about it? If you're on YouTube, I'm asking you to like the subject matter, to subscribe, tag someone, let them know what we're going to be talking about. Colon cancer awareness in the Black community. What is it? Our environment? Is it the food we eat? Let's talk about this thing. Again, in the words of Marvin Gaye, what's going on? We have the highest, African Americans have the highest rate of colon cancer. We face a 20% higher risk of developing colon cancer and a 45% higher mortality rate than any other race. So let's talk about it. Invite someone. Ask them to join in. Okay? If you're dealing with colon cancer, you know someone who's dealing with colon cancer, let's talk about it. Let's talk about this thing. We know that a lot of people have been affected by colon cancer. We got the young man from Black Panther. We have Christy Allen. There's so many people. Those are celebrity people. But what about our everyday people in our community, in our family? What can we do? What can we do about this thing? So again, tag someone. Let's talk about it. What's going on? What's going on? Thank you for joining in. I'm Cynthia Bell. I'm coming to you live. Today is Wednesday, March 8, 2023, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Depending upon where you are, we're asking you to join in. If you're dealing with colon cancer, you have a family member dealing with colon cancer, let's talk about this thing. Because it is affecting us at a 20% higher rate, a 45% higher mortality rate. What are we doing? What can we do? We welcome your comments. We welcome your input. We welcome your testimony. We welcome everything that you have to offer that can help build a person up in reference to dealing with colon cancer. Is it our diet? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. You know, the diet of many Blacks individuals include more animal fat and less fiber, which are our high risk factors for colon cancer. Lifestyle factors include higher tobacco-related illnesses, obesity, less physical activity, and a lower intake of vitamin C and E, all connected to developing colon cancer. Is it our food? Is it? You know, a lot of times we were raised, our parents and their parents were raised on a lot of different kind of foods, and perhaps those foods are not applicable for us today. Okay, a lot of things have changed. We know that a lot of our foods are being ingested with different particles to make them ready for the market. Vegetables, you know, they're ingested. They're inputting a lot of stuff in our fruits and vegetables to get them ready for the market so we can purchase them. So let's talk about this thing, colon cancer awareness. This month, the month of March. Now, I don't want to take away from Women's Month as well, because we know that we have played a high contribution to this society as women. You know, I look at my mother, my grandmothers, and my aunts and and who made a difference in our lives. So, but I'm going to deviate back to colon cancer awareness in the Black community. So let's talk about this thing. And I want you to tag someone, call someone and tell them that they can join us tonight. Colon cancer awareness. I'm going to slow it down just a little bit. Just a little bit. Are African Americans at a higher risk for colon cancer? Are they? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. African Americans are about 20% more likely to get colorectal cancer and about 40% more likely to die from it than any other group. Is that because we're not taking our screenings? We're not doing our screenings? I know that to do the screening, it's a lot. It's a lot to do. We have to take this liquid. We have to clean out our system. We have to make sure that we're doing all the preliminary stuff in order to get the screening. But is it worth it? And I'm always reminded of the young man Chad at Black Panther, who, who knew? Who knew? So you really can't judge a book by its cover. Colon cancer, is it a silent cancer? Is it a silent disease? Or is it something that can be preventable? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it tonight. What cancer is what cancer is more common in Black people? What cancer is more common in Black people? We know the medical society says prostate cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer in black men, accounting for 37% of all new cancers. Okay? Prostate cancer. Although prostate cancer was mostly commonly diagnosed with white men, it has incident rates of 73% higher. Okay? What are we doing? What can we do? What can we do? 20% more likely to get colorectal cancer. It may not seem like a high number, but it is. It is. It really is. And I'm always reminded about the foods that we eat. When COVID came upon us, it changed a whole lot of things for us. It changed the way that we eat. It changed our diet. It changed our communication. It changed our traveling. It changed a whole lot of things. But colon cancer is a cancer. It's a silent disease. Unless you've had it for a while and you've had significant signs, we're at a 45% higher mortality rate. Why is that? And I want you, if you're on Facebook, okay, tag someone. If you're on YouTube, if you like the subject matter, okay, share the subject matter, subscribe the subject matter. It's all about we coming together to make a difference. We're coming together to see how we can battle this particular disease that's preventable. And oftentimes, we don't want to get screened for it. And I talk about it in the first person because a few years ago, my doctor asked me about getting a colonoscopy. I know that my husband has had one. And I was like, oh, I really didn't want to go through all the prelude, all the stuff that you have to do. But we have to do something. We have to do the screening. There's more than one screening that we can do to be proactive about colon cancer awareness in the Black community. Again, I'm pretty much talking on and waiting for some other people to chime in. It says here, why is colon cancer rate so high? Why is colon cancer rate so high? Nobody knows for sure. The medical field, doctors, they don't know for sure, but they know that the number is rising among young people. And there was a time when colon cancer, people that got colon cancer was the the average white male 60 to 70 and on. But now it's affecting the black community, the brown community at a higher rate. Why is that? We're talking about men and women who are now in their 40s, some of them in their 30s. Okay, is it our diet or is it the environment? Let's talk about it. Overweight and obesity. Overweight and obesity has a large portion of reference to colon cancer. Heavy smoking, alcohol use, low fiber, high fat diets, uh, uh, processed foods, that those processed lunch meat, all of these factors have a play a role in colon cancer. Now, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, but I've been in healthcare for over 45 years. And I've seen people, I've never seen people at this rate, young people with colon cancer. I mean, I worked in hematology oncology in 91, 92, 93, and I never saw uh, uh, in my community the influx of colon cancer. But again, a lot of our eating habits have changed. We've gotten so caught up in microwave stuff. We've got caught up in not eating. Old back in the day, our parents and their parents would tell them eat your vegetables for this or that. That's important. Our diet is very important in reference to combating colon cancer. So I want to take a look. I want to slow it down for just a moment and allow some people to chime in about colon cancer. And a lot of times, what's good to our palate, what tastes good on our palate, it's not always good for us. So making a lifestyle change, making a eating change, it's something. It's really big. It's really big because now we don't want to um, continue to eat the processed foods, continue to do all those things, the hot dogs, the lunch meat. It takes a moment, it takes just a moment to just go ahead and do natural, natural unprocessed food that will help us in reference to colon cancer. Can colon cancer be prevented? Can it be prevented? How can we prevent colon cancer? Let's talk about it. How can we prevent colon cancer? Well, a couple of things. We can take control of our lifestyle. We can do that. Okay, we can get screened. I talked about that earlier. Getting regular screenings, tests for colon cancer is the single best way to protect ourselves from the disease. Maintain a healthy weight. Don't smoke. Be physically active. Limit our alcohol. Limit red meat. Oh, well, Cynthia, what are you talking about? So now we're talking about hamburger. We're talking about our oxtails. We're talking about all those things. We're talking about our ham. We're talking about so many things, especially processed meat, especially the processed meat. Okay, getting enough calcium and vitamin D. Are we doing supplements, people? Are we doing supplements? Are we doing that? Have we stopped smoking? Are we physically active? Are we maintaining a healthy? Well, what's a healthy weight? What's a healthy weight, Cynthia? Well, check with your doctor. Your doctor, and they'll tell you what's a healthy weight. How can you prevent colon cancer naturally? Is it a myth when you say, "Oh, well, you know what? There's no one in my family that's never had colon cancer, so therefore I don't have to get screened, and I don't need, I'm good." No, that's a myth. That's a myth. Everyone needs to get tested, okay? Especially at a certain age, even if a family member has not ever been diagnosed with colon cancer. Now, there's a couple of things here. It says here 8 ways to prevent colon cancer. Well, let's talk about it. Let's discuss it. And again, if you're on Facebook, tag someone, ask him to join us. If you're on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. Let's talk about this thing. Let's talk about it. So here it says colon cancer occurs when cells in the lining of the colon, large intestine, grow out of control. Colon cancer isn't talked about as much as some other cancers, but it should be, especially in the Black and brown community. It's the third most common cancer in the United States. I'm going to say it again. It's the third most common cancer in this United States. People are dying over 150,000. I want you to listen to that number. Over 150,000 people have been diagnosed just this year. Now, 2023 started in January 1, and we're now March 8th. 150,000 people have been diagnosed. And a growing number of these cancers are being found in young adults under the age of 50. Now, if you was listening at the beginning of the podcast, I had said earlier that Chad, who played in Black Panther, he was what 40? He was in his 40s. So now uh, uh, younger people under the age of 50, are being diagnosed with colon cancer. We got to talk about this thing. In the words of Marvin Gaye, what's going on? Colon cancer is often referred to as colorectal cancer, which describes the cancer of the colon and rectum. But guess what? There's another key factor that I want to discuss with you about colon cancer. We can prevent it. 75%, and I want you to listen, 75% of all cases could be avoided by things that you can do. Things that you can do. Okay? And listen, and I said earlier, a lot of things that taste good to our palate, it's not always good for us. We want it to taste good. We want to feel good. But you know what? It's hurting our community. It's hurting the Black and brown community. And we have a responsibility. Getting screened for colon cancer. Thank you for joining in, Adrian. I appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much. And we welcome your comments. We have Adrian from Atlanta, Georgia, who's joining us. And we welcome your comments and thank you for joining in. Getting screened, the number one, getting regular screening tests for colon cancer is the single best way to protect ourselves from the disease. If we catch it early, it's easy to treat. There are a number of effective screening tests to colon cancer. Some are easy to do, but they need to be done more often. We don't always, there's multiple ways that we can do screenings. And colon cancer, the colonoscopy, that's, doctors, I know they say to do that, but there are other avenues that we can take for colon cancer. Most people begin getting tested between the age of 45. People with a family history or other risk factors may begin testing sooner or may get tested more often. Now, I said earlier, a myth. I've heard people say, you know what? No one in my family, Cynthia, has ever had colon cancer. So therefore, I don't need to get tested. But that's a myth. Okay. That's a myth. Okay. So let's step away from the myth and deal with the facts. All right. If you have a family history of colon cancer, genetic testing could be provided upon information about your risk. Talk to your doctor. Listen, I know that a lot of people say, well, I don't have insurance and this and that, with the Obamacare and, it's income based, you may have to pay out of pocket, but is your life worth paying what needs to be done in reference to your screening? I think so. I think so. Colonoscopy. What test uses a small flexible camera to look at the full length of the inside of the colon. Whew. You're sedated for the test. Uh, uh, uh. If they find polyps, they're able to, suspicious growth, they're able to get rid of them if need be. But in our Black and brown community, we need to be more proactive in reference to colon cancer awareness. So tonight, I want to slow it down just a little bit, just a teeny bit. And in the words of Marvin Gaye, what's going on? What's going on in reference to colon cancer awareness? Now, listen, if you don't want to do the if you don't want to do the colonoscopy, you can also do the one where you can do the stool. And again, this isn't a topic. This isn't a feel-good topic. No, it's not. But when you get to that doctor's office and that doctor say, you know what, we'll suspect that you may have colon cancer because you've never had a screening. Are you afraid to have a screening? I mean, I'm talking in the first person. I had that same issue. My doctor was like, Cynthia, well, you need to get screened. So I did a screening. Okay. So colon cancer awareness in the Black community, listening to our body. And oftentimes, colon cancer is a silent disease. Maintaining some things that we can do. We talked about getting our colonoscopy, getting screenings. The next one is maintaining a healthy weight. Okay. Maintaining a healthy weight. A lot of cancers are linked to weight gain and obesity, including colon cancer. If you put on some weight, okay, check it out for a bigger health boost. Slowly work to lose those pounds. Okay, I posted this, and I would hope that the Black and brown people would want to be included into colon cancer awareness. But you know what? You can give the information, but you can't make people take the information. Don't smoke. Don't. I mean, what can I tell you? What can I tell you? Smoking causes 15 different cancers. Smoking causes 15 different cancers, including colon cancer and heart disease, stroke and lung problems. If you smoke, I'm sure quitting had, I tried smoking at an early age. I didn't like it. I didn't like the smell. But those people that do smoke, try to quit smoking. Become physically active. Walking that 1 mile. Walking, doing those steps. It's hard to believe. It's hard to beat regular exercise. It's hard, I know. But since I've been retired, I've learned how to walk and maintain and be physically active. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be Superman or Superwoman. Just take a few, some time out during the day and perhaps walk around your block. Walk around your backyard. Walk the dog. I was going to say walk the cat. Okay. But, oh, good evening. Good evening. Embrace the grace. Good evening. All right. All right. I encourage people to like the button. Okay. Do the like button. We have Embrace the Grace. She's a dear friend of mine, and I work with her. And I welcome you, Miss Grace. Thank you so much. I welcome Miss Adrian. Thank you so much. And I look forward to your comments and moving forward. Being physically fit. Colon cancer is affecting our Black and brown community. And we have a responsibility to educate people who are not aware, who may be oblivious to the idea of colon cancer, who may not have insurance, whatever the cause is. Tonight, we're talking about colon awareness in the Black and brown community. Okay? Walk for 30 minutes. It's not difficult. If you have to walk inside your home, walk around your home, walk around your yard. Physical activity. Now, this is one here. We're talking about 8 ways that we can help our bodies in reference to colon cancer. Limit alcohol. Limit alcohol. I know if it tastes good to our palate, we want it. We want it. I love a good glass of Chardonnay, but it's in moderation. Okay? Limit red meat. Oh, Cynthia, what are you talking about? You're talking about the oxtails. Okay? You're talking about the hamburger. And you've seen the commercials. They have the hamburger stacked so high. They got 3 or 4 different meats on them: red meat, pork, beef, all of it. So make a decision. Limit your red meat, especially processed meat. Am I preaching to the choir? Yes. Is a choir listening? Maybe. But tag someone if you're on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe. If you're on Facebook, tag someone to chime in. Okay. So limiting our processed meat, especially the red meat, like steak, beef, and pork, increases the risk of colon cancer. But Cynthia, well, what the heck am I supposed to eat? In moderation. In moderations. Processed meats like bacon. Oh my goodness, I love turkey bacon. Bacon, sausage, bologna, raises the risk even more. And again, I know if it tastes good to your palate, you want it. But everything that's good for our palate is not good for our body. Just FYI. Get enough calcium and vitamin D. I just went to the doctor recently, and the doctor advised me that I had a vitamin D deficiency. So I had to be, I'm now taking vitamin D. During the time when COVID was going on, I was vitamin D up, I was zinc up, I was all up. But then as COVID, declined, I declined with my vitamin D. We need that vitamin D. We need that vitamin D, people, our black and brown people. Eat more grains and fiber. Eat more grains and fiber. It's good for the body. Eating a diet in whole grains and fiber can lower the risk of colon cancer. But most people, we don't get enough of it. We don't get enough of it. These are simple things that we can do. There's 8 of them. We're already at the 8th one. There's simple things that we can do. Again, if you know someone who's dealing with colon cancer, okay, who's dealing with colon cancer, okay, have them. If you want to give words of encouragement as to what we can say to someone who has been diagnosed with colon cancer, okay, what do we say to that person? Okay, how do we approach that person? Okay, we give them words of encouragement. We have to give them words of encouragement, because as we encourage them, we encourage ourselves, because we have to get screened as well. Colon cancer awareness. Other important risk factors for colon cancer. Okay, though colon cancer can be prevented, yes, it can. There are still a number of important risk factors that people can control. Is it our environment? Why is the black community? Why are we getting influx with colon cancer? Let's talk about it. Is it? I mentioned the foods that we eat in moderation or stay away from. Is it our environment? And I said before some time ago in my podcast earlier in the month, we live in an unhealthy world. We really do. So how do we maintain? How do we maintain? We know that a lot of foods are being rushed to get to the market so they can sell. Can we live in can we live in an environment where we can grow our own vegetables? I tried that. I tried to grow my own vegetables and fruits, and it didn't work out. So what do? Are we at the mercy of our environment? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Other resources, that we can help us in reference to colon cancer. When Chad, the young man that played in, thank you, Don. We have Don Fuller, who is from Hollywood, unhealthy. So she says, so what? Well, yes, yes. So what? So what does she says here? What can we do? We can do a lot. I just named 8 of them. Processed meat, red meat, pork, moderation, okay? Having a healthy weight, getting screening. The number one is getting screened for colon cancer for our Black and brown community. Okay, we know the foods that we eat. Because this we've been raised on these foods. We know about it, but it's not always good for us. We're in a different time. We're in a different stage in our lives. Because when I hear of a young person in their 40s dying from colon cancer, Christy Alley, who was 70 years old, who played on Cheers, diagnosed with colon cancer, and then she's gone. So what are we doing? What are we doing? Let's talk about it. I welcome your comments. I welcome your input. I welcome your positive enforcement and saying, you know what, I'm gonna advise, because I'm learning how to not use the word tell. Okay, advise a family member, advise a friend to go get screened, advise a family member or a friend, even an enemy. You know what? Perhaps you need to cut back on some of the processed foods. Perhaps you need to cut back on some of the red pork and beef meat that we're eating, those oxtails. I've never eaten an oxtail, but I hear they're very good. Maybe pull them back a little bit. That hamburger, all that plays a very important put us at risk for colon cancer. So Cynthia, so what are you saying? We all need to be vegetarians? No, I'm not saying that at all. Because Chad from Black Panther was a vegetarian. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is get screened. Listen to our bodies. Listen to your body. If something don't feel right, go check it out. But I want to go back here. It says here that, and I'm going to what the medical society has says. It says here, let me go further down a little bit. Just bear with me for just a moment. Okay. It says, what cancer is race for life for? Well, what kind of question is that? Well, let's see what the heck they say. Let's see. It says here, Race for Life is a series of funding raising events to help people with cancer. Well, that's another thing too. You can chime into different organizations, cancer organizations. There's 200 types of cancer. 200. Not one. Back in the day, I was talking to my mom earlier today, and she was saying that back in the old times, you didn't hear about a Black person get colon cancer. And I have to make it about race because uh, it's a lifestyle, and I have to make it about race. She was saying, she says, my family calls me Diane. They says, Diane, back in the day, we never heard of when a Black person got cancer. It was a big deal. You didn't hear about it. When a Black person got diabetes, you didn't hear about it. The foods that my parents and her parents ate were different. They used cow manure to fertilize their plants. We done got so educated. We've gotten so sophisticated. Now we're using all kind of chemicals to ingest our foods with. Okay, but there's 200 types of cancer in this world. 200. That's a lot. That's a lot. Okay, it says here, what is prone to colon cancer? Both men and women are equally at risk for colon cancer. Colorectal cancer is most common among people aged 50 and older, but can occur in patients as young as teenagers. What? Teenagers? Are you kidding me? Okay, we have Marquita. Marquita said, "This is I strongly encourage everyone." Marquita from Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you so much for joining in. She says, "I strongly encourage everyone to get screened. I'm a blessed colon cancer survivor. Hello, hello, hello. What's going on? And getting a colonoscopy is what ultimately saved my life. Colon cancer has no symptoms. It's a silent killer. Hallelujah, praise God." She says that getting that colonoscopy is what saved her life. Now, if that don't make you want to If that don't make you want to get screened, I don't know what else. She said it saved her life, ultimately saved her life. So hallelujah. Thank you. So ultimately save your life, ultimately saving your life, a family member life, a friend's life by telling them to get screened, to get a colonoscopy. It's real, people. This is real. Let's talk about this thing. Let's slow it down for a moment because it's affecting our Black community and our brown community. And I said earlier in the podcast, most health insurance, they say most insurance. Are you saying they do, Grace and Brace? Are you saying that they do cover colonoscopy? And even if they don't, I know that the cost can be high, but most of them do as a preventative method. As a preventative method, colonoscopy. Yes, 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 yes. It says yes, they do. Yes. Most health insurance. Thank you so much, Grace, from Atlanta, from Georgia, joining in again. She says yes, they do. Most health insurance companies do cover colonoscopy. So what's up? So what's up? So why we can't get screened? Why we can't get screened? So why are we hearing about 40, 45, even people who are under the age of 30 with colon cancer? Let's go colon cancer. If you're on YouTube, please like the like button and subscribe. It says here over 75% of colon and rectal cancers happen to people with no known risk factors, which is why regular screening is important. And I said earlier in the podcast, it's a myth. Nobody in my family has ever had colon cancer, so I don't have to get tested. It only takes one person to start that cycle on. So let's talk. Let's be proactive and talk about it. It says here, what best reduces your chances of colon cancer? Well, Cynthia, you already named 8 of them, but we know the number one is getting screened. It says some studies suggest that people may reduce their risk of developing colorectal cancer by increasing, and we talked about it, physical activity, keeping a healthy weight, limiting alcohol consumption, and avoiding tobacco. And again, I know if it feels good to your palate, you want to do it, but think about the young lady, Marquita from Atlanta, Georgia, said it saved her life. It ultimately saved her life. So do you want to keep doing what you're doing because it feels good, it tastes good, and shortening your time here on earth? Screening is everything, honey. It's everything. You go to the doctor when your eyesight starts, getting dim or what have you. You go to the doctor, to the eye doctor. It's the same thing with our bodies. And I'm talking the first person. I had a problem with my screening. But my doctor's like, Cynthia, you got to do it. Did I like doing it? No. My husband did it. It was a breeze to him. But we're different individuals. But it had to be done. Why is colon cancer so preventable? Why is it so preventable? With screening. It goes back to that S word, with screening. The process of detecting the cancer or precancerous growth in the colon or rectum, known as polyps. Colorectal cancer is one of the most preventable cancers of all cancers. Now check that out. It's the most preventable. So what's the issue? What's the problem? In the words of Marvin Gaye, what's going on? And I was hoping that people, in our culture, we're so private. We're so, we don't want nobody to know. And that hinders us from a lot of things. And it's okay to talk about where you've been, but it's also good to talk about where you're going. And if you don't get screened for different, for colon cancer or any cancer, breast cancer, women, prostate cancer, men, you got lung cancer, there are 200 of them. Where does it begin and when does it stop? It says here, colorectal cancer, it all has to do with preventative, honey. I could sit here and talk all night, but it's about the screening. So if no one else believes what I'm saying tonight, you can Google. You got a medical doctor, you got a health department, you got clinics. Talk to someone and ask them about colon cancer awareness in the Black and brown community. It makes a difference. Make a difference. You know, I was reading a friend of mine, a very close friend of mine. Her dad was the first Black fireman in Broward County, and now his granddaughter is a firefighter, and a legacy, a legacy, leaving a legacy for our family, for our friends, for our friends. I think Angelo said that you want to leave a legacy where people know that you were here. And knowing that you were here means that having a healthy lifestyle, having a healthy lifestyle, and keeping your whole family, keeping our Black community healthy by things that we can do, leaving a legacy for our family, leaving a legacy for our kids. Agent Fuller, thank you for that comment. Agent Fuller says the age for screening was recently lowered to age 45 because there has been such an increase in colon cancer diagnosed in the past 10 years. 45. You got women are having babies at 45. Men are having children at 45. And now you're being diagnosed with cancer at 45 in the past 10 years. That means that something has changed. Is it our environment or is it our diet? You try to figure it out. But when you figure it out, make sure you've had your screening. And I know I'm sounding, I'm not preaching, I'm not teaching, I'm talking family. Because I want the Black and brown community, I want that colon cancer to be preventable. I want the risk to get lower. And that's something that we have to do. And that is being proactive. Well, Cynthia, what's some of the signs of colon cancer? Well, I said earlier in the conversation, it's a silent killer. Okay, what are the first signs? Well, let's talk about it. Let's see here. Now, check this out information-wise. A persistent change in our bowel habits, including diarrhea, constipation, or a change in the consistency of our stool. We're grown people. We know what stool is. Rectal bleeding or blood in your stool. Persistent abdominal discomfort such as cramps, gas, or pain. A feeling that your bowel doesn't empty completely. Weakness or fatigue. Come on, people. It's also the additives. Yes, thank you, Grace. It is the additives. And I said earlier, they're ingesting our food, so all sorts of things get into the market so that it's about the dollar. And most of us can't grow our own vegetables, our fruit and vegetables. We can't do it. But it's the additives and preservatives they're putting in our food. And what sends me back to cancer is a big business. Yes, it is. It's a big business. And it sends me back to my company, Cynthia Wellness Products. We don't use preservatives. I don't use preservatives in my products. All my products are natural. They're natural products. No chemicals, no preservatives. Okay? In reference to building our immune system. Okay? To making sure and getting rid of free radicals in our body. I've been in healthcare over 45 years, and I'm an advocate for taking care of our bodies. Because if we take care of our bodies, our minds, everything falls into an alignment. Okay? It really does. It really does. So colon cancer, awareness, keeping ourselves, making ourselves accountable. We are accountable for us. Go get that screening. Call your insurance company. Call your doctor and let them know, I want to get screened. Okay? All right. I know you don't want to drink that nonsense. You don't want to drink it, but you know what? As the young lady said, that when she got that colonoscopy, it ultimately saved her life. And I know her personally. And I saw what she went through. And it was not pleasant. But she's here today. She's here today in 2023. And she's alive. And she's functioning. And she's a Black woman. And she's living her life. So it can be achieved. It can be achieved. Colon cancer awareness. Well, what are some of the silent signs? The silent signs. We're going to move it right along here. The silent signs. What are they, Cynthia? Well, let's talk about it, girl. Let's talk about it. Are there any silent signs? Are there any? Colon cancer is considered a silent disease. Most of the time, there are no symptoms. We said that earlier. The symptoms that people may experience include a change of bowel habits, abdominal pain, blood in the stool, weight loss, and those kind of things. But a lot of times we take care of everyone else, and those things may be happening to us, but we're so busy taking care of everyone else. But we have to take time out for ourselves. So I want to thank you all tonight. I want to thank you for joining in tonight in reference to colon cancer awareness. And it's important to me. Okay, it's important. When I saw a friend of mine, losing her hair, have to go to chemotherapy, have to do all this stuff. It's not, listen, that palate, I know it tastes good. I know it. That big old hamburger, all that beef lined up in your colon, all that pork, all that processed meat, not walking to the mailbox, not walking around the house. Stop smoking, cutting back smoking, the alcohol. Yeah. I know, Cynthia, but guess what? It's your life. It's your life. So I want to thank Ms. Grace Embrace. Great information. Oh, yes, of life and death. Thank you so much. Listen, if you guys get a chance, chime in to Embrace Grace. She has a podcast on YouTube. She get down and dirty with some issues. Okay, so check her out. But I want to thank Miss Adrian from Atlanta, Miss Marquita from Atlanta. I want to thank Don from Hollywood, Florida. I want to just thank you all for chiming in. And hopefully those of us who did not listen, who don't want to listen, I salute you. As I salute you in reference to not leaving a legacy. It says, while going through chemo, Miss Marquita says, while going through chemo, I battle alongside women and men aged 22 to 75. Oh my God, 22 to 75. Only a couple of us live to share stories. Oh my God. Only a couple of us live to share stories because it was caught early enough. Get screened. Get screened, people. Get screened. Okay? Start a thing where you're promoting people to go get screened. The Black and brown community. The Black and brown community. Yes. 22 to 75. A couple of us, oh my goodness. Embrace the grace. Wow. Information. It's a matter of life and death. Cancer is a business. Yes, it is a business. But it ain't bigger than our business about us. It's us. It's our body. We have a choice. Miss Dawn Fuller. Yes. We can do this. So I want to thank you all tonight. Share this video with someone and let them know you have a responsibility to leave a legacy for your family and your friends, even your enemies, that you took care of your body, that you was here, okay? That you made a difference. You helped someone else get screened. You helped someone else realize that they have a choice in their life, doing the preventative methods for colon cancer. There's 200 cancers. There's 200. This is just one. We can do this. So I thank you so much. And you know something? I love you. God loves you. But do you love yourself enough to get screened? I'm going to leave you with that thought. But as the words of Marvin Gaye, yes, he did. As the words of Marvin Gaye, yes, he said the best. What's going on? What's going on? Yes, we can fix this thing. Yes. So until the next time that we meet, I'll see you again. And colon cancer awareness, I thank you. And I look forward to seeing you again. So you have a good night. It's Life Turn Podcast with Cynthia Bell. Thank you and good night.